on to where this meta could be headed in this case. But there still is a lot to see on what is going to be happening in this head-to-head, because one of the Master Yis that is 4-0 right now is going to be going against a difficult matchup of Kai'Sa. Now, right now, Moyen is, of course, 4-0 as well, and that's going to be the biggest thing here, is how this is going to be in the matchup.
All right, and let's take a look at this Kai'Sa deck list here. And no surprise, no big surprises here. Just the standard Kai'Sa stuff. We have the Watchers and stuff like that, but we also have that Riptide Rex. We did see earlier how that definitely came up in handy. And then in the sideboard, we also have, unlike other lists, we have the two of Cathian Rain in the side, another Watcher, and that Retreat tech that we saw come up so nicely earlier. So let's take a look at this Master Yi list real quick and see what Master Yi will be bringing into the table. And man, standard Yi list, but we do see another addition here that we haven't seen earlier in this Cub. So this Cub, if you guys don't know what this does, it has Hidden, and it is a 3/3 unit that is going to provide good early game pressure, and we have the White Flame Protector. And here we see in the sideboard of Master Yi having that Anivia to deal with these potential wide boards, but it might not come up here. The Zhonya's definitely will come up in that game too, for sure. But without any more rambling from us, let's get into it.
And this is going to be a big tell. Now, the biggest thing here is Master Yi is going to need to almost outlast the removal that Kai'Sa has at her fingertips. There is a lot of devastating blows, because the biggest thing is, as Master Yi, you are going to basically only want one unit at all times to be at a battlefield. So if Kai'Sa is then able to go ahead and utilize all the removal that she'll have, is that going to be a pretty big uphill battle for Master Yi? Time will tell.
Yep, so Master Yi, like you said, holding that one battlefield, but Kai'Sa, that's where Kai'Sa's strength lies, is dealing with the battlefield damage. And because Kai'Sa doesn't want to be attacking too much, using those spells, basically being able to mark them for whatever the printed might cost it's just going to be so huge for Kai'Sa. So it really will come down to what Kai'Sa has in hand on the start here. And let's take a look at those starting hands, because this is really what's going to tell how this game is going to pan out as well. So here we're seeing a mulligan coming through on the side of KnightinGale, having that early Cub in hand, and starting off with Double Defy into the Carnivorous Snapvine. And here we see on the side of Kai'Sa, having that early game Lecturing Yordle into the Stupefy, and thinking on if he wants to poke back the Sprite Mother. And we did see how Sprite Mother was able to get in some good early game pressure, but just deciding to put it back, and then seeing what the new two cards is, and two cards being Hextech Ray and Ravenblade Student. What a great mulligan for sure.
Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest thing too, because that was almost the scary part here for Kai'Sa, having no removal in hand. And so even though Sprite Mother is a great one to have in hand, creating a 3 might Sprite unit at the ready when it is played, still you need to try to go for that removal. And still, again, with that card draw, as a unit is played here, Lecturing Yordle being able to draw a card and replace itself on the play, going to be able to start off strong here.
And here we see Yi just going straight out for that Cub, and that Cub is just very well statted, but we do see Kai'Sa here having that Hextech Ray. So it really will come down to where Yi decides to put this Cub after all, because if he goes to that Void Gate, that Hextech Ray is now dealing 4 potentially. But we see on the side of Kai'Sa here just going for that start tip peak, just going to try to hold that as fast as possible, and just holding up what looks to be a decent amount there. So you could even see the student coming down maybe onto the battlefield to just have another body on board to hold out that start tip peak.
Well, and that's going to be the scary part too here, especially with Game 1, having Void Gate be one of the battlefields here. It can be very scary for Master Yi to even want to hold there, because spells and abilities affecting units here deal 1 bonus damage. And that is for each spell. So if you even stack spells, you can add, 2, 3 additional damage for each spell that you activate there as well. So a lot of scary stuff there, and it's going to be tough to see what's going to be happening. And taking over the other battlefield, this star-tipped peak, is a good move so far.
Yep, and you see here from the side of Master Yi as well. Master Yi definitely wants to do that whole or early game hold on the side of both battlefields. But we see Kaisa here playing a couple of units onto the board here. So we see the Ravenbloom student coming down and the Watchful Sanctuary. And here now we're going to see this cub coming into this Yordle. And we know what the one is up for. And this is probably going to be that Hextech Ray getting rid of that cub. And here we're going to see the one tapped and we do remember there is a Defy there, so gonna get that Defy off, stopping Kaiser from getting rid of this. And now this is where Master Yi wants to be, getting that one body off the board, using that cub, and now it's time to engage Master Yi's game plan. So that cub is going to be on 5 protecting there, and now another body should be coming down here as well from the side of Master Yi. But man, great use of the Defy there.
No, that was perfect timing because, again, like you said, especially as we continue to get into the later game, the bigger spells that Kais is able to utilize can just be absolutely devastating. I mean, especially going in with like a Riptide Rex that can go ahead and deal 6. If you go ahead and play a Thousand-Tailed Watcher with Accelerate to where it minuses 3 attack from everything, you're really just trying to hold on to the early game and try to earn as many points as you can as a Master Yi player so that you can hopefully secure, that game 1 victory here.
And you talked about him, and here he comes, Riptide Rex dealing 6 to the Cub, saying, hey man, this is now my battlefield, get off of it. And man, Riptide Rex, shoutouts to the Legends of Runeterra players who know what type of menace Riptide Rex has been time and time again. And just dealing 6, getting it off the board, saying, Master Yi, please take this unit. And now it's going to cap both battlefields and just going to be saying, hey, I'm just going to cap both, go to 3, and then pass it back over to you. Force you to potentially use your champion unit here, or this comes down the Snapvine.
Ooh, and that is a great response. Now, still at the same time, that the Snapvine coming down is a great response, but still that Riptide Rex is still devastating at a 6 might. And that's one of the coolest things too. As a unit, it can still come in and deal that damage freely and not worry about necessarily being defied in that case because it is a unit ability. And so this is going to be a big change. And now the big debate here, do you go ahead and move your Riptide Rex into the battlefield?
Now, I think here I don't want to. I just want to keep it up. But here we're actually going to see Kaisa come down and maybe looking to get a card draw here. So going to move that Kaisa into the Void Gate, looking to get that card draw off the conch. And going up to 5, so we did talk about this a little bit earlier, where you want to be on those even curves so you can double hold or double contest in a turn, so you can get the win there. But just wanting to go Kaisa deep here just to get more cards, and knowing that if you dig into some form of removal, you're going to be chilling, right? And now he might not even move the Riptide Rex, just holding it back for a potential crackback off this Master Yi play.
Yeah, and you're exactly right about that. And the biggest thing here, too, is each game at this point, we are getting to the tail end of this Swiss round. Every win that you have is going to be a difference maker. You've already, seen the light at the end of the tunnel. You're potentially near that top cut. And man, having a loss right here could really be a big hit. And so both these players are competing for so much right now and trying to do what their deck can do best. And so we'll see right now with the Master Yi being able to utilize for 5 and 2 with another Snapvine coming out to take care of that Kaisa, and then rightfully so, moving into the battlefield of Star-Tipped Peak to gain another point. But still, that is 2-5 right now with Moyen looking really good. Little bit of a comeback here needed for Master Yi right now, but still, no one is out of this game yet.
And see, here we see the charm as well on top of that with the Snapvine. Saw in our previous games where this charm, bringing up that Riptide Rex and being okay with trade. It's not even going to trade because Master Yi ability gives it the +2. So this is 8-6. So Riptide Rex is going to come off of board. And Kaisa's tapped out. They tapped out for the Ravenbloom student. So this is just insane value for Master Yi here. Just being able to 2-for-1 Kaisa here. And man, we talked about it time and time again, where charm is just providing so much value in these E decks.
And that's going to be the biggest thing too, having a Snapvine to go ahead and remove a threat on board. And then on top of that, when you then go ahead and take over that battlefield, use charm, and you're like, cool, well, whatever else I want to take out that is 7 or less might, cool, thank you. I'll take that all day, every day. And that's going to be the biggest thing here right now for this Master Yi player. He is getting what he needs to be able to maintain this board. Because, I mean, if you don't have the removal, your low-cost units are going to have a really big uphill battle.
Yep, and we're seeing here just Master Yi basically using the rotations, like getting into these battlefields, using, and here we see another house of a card coming down. And this is the Watcher. We talked about this card. We've seen it time and time again, having accelerate, minusing 3 to enemy units. And this is just going to go straight into start tip peak with no response from Master Yi. So going to go up to 6. And now the question lies, do you just go up to 7 and say, hey, I'm holding here. You have to deal with my board on both locations because I know you're only going to be at 6. So you're not going to be able to drop your champion unit on the board for the accelerate. So how are you going to deal with my board? And and right here, Moyen just says, hey, I'm going to 7. I'm going to hold, force you to have it. If not, I just win the game next turn.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. That's one of the hardest parts here. It's like now you're pressuring KnightinGale to say, hey, you need to take out both. If you can, great, we'll have a game. But if not, ooh, you're in trouble here. And let's take a look at the hand state that we have as well right now. Primal Strength being a good one, but not only that, White Flame Protector. The ability to go ahead and add +8 might to a unit. And that could very well be taking out some very dangerous threats in hand.
Ooh, and the draw there is another primal strength. So this, yeah, and yeah, we're no surprise here. That looks like a 650 on the side of KnightinGale, and yeah, no, that's how we're talking about this all day. And chat and everybody, we can just see that card, as Thousand Eye Watcher, man, puts in so much work when it comes down. It is insane. Being able to say -3 to your opponent's board, push into a location is just very, very strong. And man,
With
that game one, man, that game one was insane.
It really was. And I mean, you got to see like the devastating blows that you can have with that. Again, the Kai'Sa was able to take control of the late game. There was a little bit of threats coming in, some things to kind of worry about, but it's like, hey, I've got the responses. I'm able to take care of things with the Riptide Rex. Master Yi did a great job being able to have the Carnivorous Snapvine come out onto the field, do some damage control, but it was almost too little too late, not quite able to get that momentum back in, to get the battlefields needed to be able to win the game.
Yeah, very, very strong showing there from Kai'Sa. And just one of the strengths, we knew that Kai'Sa had the advantage going into this, and what did we talk about? We talked about that Thousand Eye Watcher, just putting immense pressure here. And let's look at the Kai'Sa deck list here. What would you bring in here? What do you bring in to deal with this Yi? Do you just keep it the same, just change up the battlefields? What's the play here?
Well, the biggest thing here as well is I would maybe consider going ahead and siding in the Icathian Rain here, potentially, right down here in the bottom. It does you do this 6 times, deal 2 to a unit. And especially when, units are holding battlefields and, you will not be able to activate Master Yi's ability. So I would be tempted to put both of those in.
And I wouldn't be surprised here if we also see the Reckoner's Arena coming in just to want to speed up the game a little bit, so Kai'Sa can just say steamroll, clear your units, and deal with stuff here. But we also might see even the Targon's Peak here, because we did also see how Kai'Sa didn't have any runes up when it came to end of turn. But let's take a look at the Yi deck list as well and see what Yi can bring to the table into the side game here. So we did talk about that Anivia not really being too good in the matchup here. Maybe bringing in the Zonias. I think you definitely bring in the Zonias here. Even bringing in this card here, which allows you to protect yourself from battle damage as well, would be not battle damage, spell damage. So that would be very, very good. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the 3 of them come in, maybe taking out 2 of the White Flame Protectors, just because you're not going to be able to get there. And Rune Prison doesn't come up too much as well, so definitely we can see that there. But let's get into this second game, Kai'Sa versus Yi. Let's start it out.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing. Unyielding Spirit might be one of the biggest parts of this deck to really help you counter this Kai'Sa deck. That's going to be the hardest part here. And so Master Yi, though, again, needing to make that impact here early on to try to get some points. You saw that he fell behind kind of quickly there on, maybe trying to get that board presence. And you saw it was 2-5 at one point in that game one. So it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to end up going in game two. Taking a quick look at the mulligans as well. Now, of course, you can discard up to 2 cards in this case. And the starting hand is looking kind of interesting right now, especially with Clockwork Keeper being able to go ahead and recycle 1 to be able to draw a card as well on play. It can be pretty helpful.
All right, and here we see both players having pretty solid early game potential here. We see on the side of Yi, probably my favorite card in the game, bar none. Guys, raise the counters. Pookie coming down on turn 2 or turn 1. That's definitely what we want to see here. But Pookie is there, and on the side of Kaisa has that early game. It has the student. It had the lecturing Yordle. So we're going to be seeing a lot of early game stuff here. And both players going to be starting at 1 because of the Reckoner's Arena as well. So this game is going to be fast. It's going to go hard. You guys better not blink. Got to keep up with it.
Yeah, well, and that's going to be the interesting part here with Kiana out there as well, because when you go ahead and take Reckoner's Arena, it says when you hold this, activate the conquer abilities of units here. And so you can go ahead and activate her ability and, potentially exhaust a rune or draw a card. And man, card draw is king here in this case. The more utilization you could potentially have can be a big difference maker here as well. But we already see a Kaisa moving in, making a statement, going to be able to draw a card off of that with a lecturing Yordle as a companion into that battlefield.
Yep, so that battlefield right now is pretty much on hold because that lecturing Yordle also has tank as well. Basically saying, hey, I'm going to be taking the first set of damage here, and then the Kaisa is pretty much going to be protected. And here we see Pookie coming down. So raise the Pookie counters once more. Pookie going to be able to buff the Kiana, so this Kiana is going to be going in for 5 wherever she's going, and maybe even just saying, hey, maybe I just go into a location, but just going to pass it over, just playing a little bit more safer, waiting it out, and then we also see a hidden card there as well, along with that Clockwork Keeper.
Yep, and not only that, though, especially with playing Master Yi, there are a lot of utilization cards that you can use. On Guard, for example, is something very scary. It can add 2 to a unit that is there by itself, or 1 if there's something else there. But in this case, if you go ahead and attack the battlefield, Grove of the God Willow, and you activate an On Guard, well, awesome. That's great. Even Discipline as well, with 2 untapped on Master Yi's side, can go ahead and add 2 and draw a card as well. So there's a lot to anticipate here. And not only that, with the hidden card as well, that makes it scary on trying to decide if I go ahead and attack into that battlefield.
Yeah, this hidden card here, I don't remember what was in Nightingale's list here. That can be hidden, but this had, maybe he put in the Zonias. This could be the Zonias, so he
I
could
think
flip
you're right.
the Zonias here. I just remembered that. So this could be interesting here. Maybe Kaisa overextends here, using her resources, trying to get rid of this Poro, and then just a Zonia's flip to recall, and then can conquer with the Kiana to get that ramp or potential card draw. That definitely is a line that is possible now.
And that's going to be a good surprise as well. And I think you're right, because, even we forgot necessarily that Hourglass could be put down as a hidden card. And so it's like, cool, well, if something ends up, dying in that case, well, cool, it just automatically goes back to base. And that could be a little bit more influence to try to get things going. But still, with this going, how many
Oh my.
Ravenbloom students do you need in a hand at a time? The answer right now is 3. And
That
that
is
is
the
exactly
whole
what you're
play
seeing.
set of Ravenbloom students. We're going back to school, ladies and gentlemen. Holy moly. All right, so Kaisa's just saying, hey, man, I just have a board state. And this is very weird to see from Kaisa because we're not used to seeing Kaisa have this much board presence, even though they're just Ravenbloom students. But if Kaisa looks to go in and trying to get some damage here, she can just use those action cards just to boost these up by 1, by 2, by 3. And once those turning out, these students actually become really, really beefy. So it's definitely going to be fun to see this next turn from Kaisa going into this. And here we see the Kiana just going on to the Reckoner's Arena, that cap there, and I think that he opted into the draw, and then he also gets the hold for the Poro as well. So 4-2 here. So this is looking not to be as one-sided as we were initially thinking, but it's actually a very fun matchup for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. It's definitely a difficult matchup here, and you got to be a little bit calculated with how you might be playing it. But I mean, the Kaisa, the thing that worries me about it is if you have 3 Ravenbloom students in hand, what are you potentially lacking? And that's the scary part. It's like, do you now have the removal that you potentially need? Because I mean, you lost out on 3 cards here. 1 Ravenbloom is nice, 2, sure, but 3, it's like, what am I missing out on now?
Yep. Because like, and don't forget, right? We have on Kaisa, there's plenty of cards that will draw us. We do have the Consulted Pass. We do have cards like the Void Seeker that allows you to draw 1 on cast. And stuff like that. So these Ravenbloom students will get kind of beefy. And here we're actually going to see the Falling Star to deal 2 and 2. So 2 to the Poro and 2 to the Pookie. And we're actually going to see the Cub. And we even forgot about the Cub. But the Cub also has
Yeah.
something as well. So this is still a holding out on that battlefield. 3 damage. But 3 is nothing when it comes to the horde of Ravenbloom students that are now 3 might units that can potentially go into this battlefield here. You only have to send one of them. And hey, if there is another spell behind it as well, oh, these are going to be 4 might Ravenbloom students coming in. But on the crackback, they will be smaller. And here we see the Stupefy. So Stupefy is going to make this 2. These Ravenbloom students going up to 4, getting that card draw. And because Kaisa has seen mainly a lot of its units, it's just like what they're drawing into is just going to be straight gas from now on.
Yeah, and you're exactly right about that. This is going to be a big push on that. And with that, we also have Sprite Mother coming in. That's going to be another ready unit here. A 3 might Sprite coming in and ready to make a statement. This is going to be a very difficult thing. I mean, you could even go ahead and send the Sprite in to test the waters, be like, do you have any responses, or do you mind even losing this battlefield? No? Okay, cool. Well, I'll move in. And even still having, I mean, 16, 18 on the board outside of that Sprite as well. It's like, am I losing both battlefields this turn potentially? And if so, that is going to be 4-4 with Moyen tying up the game just like that.
And I'm telling you, it's just like it was like a mini stratagem, but in Kaisa colors. Just an insane play, and we see the value here of the Ravenbloom student just being able to say, "Hey, man, I'm doing my game plan. I'm casting all these spells. I'm doing all of this, and now I can just take board." But we do know for a fact that Nightingale does have a Primal Might in hand. We did see it when we looked at hands. So one of these battlefields should be safe theoretically, but it's just really up to Moyen now to see where they want to go into, because whatever location they go into, if they don't send enough, they are going to end up 2-for-1ing or even 3-for-1ing themselves. So it really will come down to what are you willing to give up here.
Yeah, and you're exactly right about that. And the thing is, as well, you don't want to necessarily go ahead and recycle too much either. If you recycle more than 2 in this case, then you lose the chance to potentially even bring out a Master Yi who can enter ready and clap back at whatever Moyen might be throwing at them in this case. And so right now it looks like 3 Ravenblooms are going in together with a Sprite. It's going to be interesting, and basically saying, "Okay, what's your response at this point? You have 6 runes untapped. What do you got?"
Yep, and just deciding here if he wants to go in with the Yordle as well. So yep, just going in with the full squad up. So that is 4 plus 4. That's 8. That's 12. That's 15. 15 and an additional 2, so that's 17 going into this Kiana here. And 17 seems like overkill, but this is how much you have to push there, because you do know Primal Might is a card that could possibly deal with stuff here. So yeah, the Yordle is just going to end up getting tanked out, and then also going to take a Ravenbloom student with it as well. So good push there. And notice here on the side of Moyen. Just saying, hey, I respect the fact that you could have a Primal Might here. I don't want to deal with all of that. I'm just going to push enough to deal with a board. And now this is the interesting part here. This Kaisa is still on board as well. So do you want to try to go for the cub on the other battlefield, or do you just want to stack up on the Reckoner's arena? And Moyen just says, hey, you got it over there, big bro. You can hold that battlefield. I'm going to go over here and just hold out this Reckoner's arena.
Well, and in this case too, a very great job on the deck knowledge there as well. You know, you assumed that there was potentially a primal strength. We haven't necessarily seen that in these games. We, as the people who are watching this stream and bringing you this broadcast, know that primal strength is in the deck list, but Moyen doesn't know the deck list necessarily, and so because of that, there is not necessarily a whole lot. But he was assuming maybe there is a primal strength, maybe there is something scarier in there. Let's go ahead and prepare for that. And backing up with the Kaisa is now going to be making the other side of the field that much more difficult to take. At the same time, though, now we see a Carnivorous Snapvine coming in to take out that Kaisa. And now we are looking at 4-5 with Moyen only being down by 1.
Yeah, so you see the use of the smoke screen there, trying to, from the side of Moyen, trying to bring that Snapvine down a little bit, but the Defy coming up in handy again. I want to say Defy has been the MVP for these green decks today. Just time and time again, just stopping Kaisa players from being able to do their shenanigans. We saw in earlier matchups as well that the Defy came up, and Defy is just a powerhouse of a card. Me and the other casters as well that were here earlier thought Defy only hit 3, but no, Defy hits 4. What a strong card just to be able to be used.
No, and you're exactly right about that. Now, the only thing that it wouldn't necessarily counter would be a falling star, because that is a recycle of 2 in that case. And so it only is able to counter one of those if it only had one recyclable in that case. And so it, you know, it would be able to get a Void Seeker or a Hextech Ray, but otherwise, you know, anything else, and it cannot be countered in that case. And so great move right there, being able to have that in hand. Still a very difficult battle, 5-5 right now with Moyen in this case, but still holding that one battlefield is proving to be a difficult measure for Moyen to be able to answer to. And Master Yi is just racking up those points one at a time. But still, there we go, going in with a Riptide Rex to then go ahead and take out that battlefield, dealing 6 damage right away with no repercussions, and then moving in Sprite Mother to take another point, going up now 6-5.
Yep, and Riptide Rex still just being a house of a card, and here we're seeing the double Raven Bloom move back. So that's this is what we were talking about, knowing when to push and pull back your units. Because now that you're on 6, you put an opponent in a weird predicament, because not only do they have to get rid of both battlefields, right? Being able to clear both, you now can just proceed to go for game next turn just by able to do a double cap. So no, completely tapped out here. This is the one unfortunate side on the side of Kaisa. So we see here KnightinGale going up to 6 as well, and Kaisa is in the driver's seat right now, honestly. Just being able to say, hey, now I can just easily cap this location without any issue. It really just comes down to what Kaisa has in hand here, and if they have a way to get rid of this Snapvine and just push into location, they have the game wrapped up here for sure.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And there it is, just like that. Thousand-tailed Watcher coming in at the ready and saying, show me what you got. I am attacking in with everything.
Yep, and here comes the big push. So -3 to everything. So that is a lot of damage here coming onto the side. Rune Prison coming out, hopefully looking to do something here. So stunning double Rune Prison. Oh, this is a massive play here. Coming in and stunning both the Riptide Rex and the Thousand-Eyed Watcher. So that's 13 off. Oh my days. And then ends up losing the 2 Ravenbloom student. So KnightinGale holding on by dear life. And this is just going to be a straight push onto the student. And Kaisa's tapped out here.
Yep, and that's exactly right. And I mean, that was a big thing because it stuns a unit. And so what happens is it doesn't deal combat damage, which means that it is a bounce back, and both go back to their, or the other potion goes back to their respective base. But that is going to be the deciding factor of game 2, just like that. And we are going into game 3 as KnightinGale pulls off with a double Room Prison for the win.
Oh my days. And then that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. It's things like that. We were so locked in saying Kaisa was gonna get that dub and double Rune Prison. All the Rune Prison believers in chat right now are losing their minds because what was that?
Well, and that's the hard part too. It's like how do you respond to literally coming in with the Sprite Mother, coming in with a Riptide Rex? Well, now we know the answer. Double Room Prison is going to be a great factor there. And we were even talking about, last round, we're like, oh, maybe I don't necessarily want to side or keep that in. I want to side that out for maybe something a little bit better. But that gave him game 2, and now we are 1-1. So it's like, well, whatever he did is now working. But what are you now going to go for in game number 3 as Master Yi?
I think in game number 3 here, we're still on the same game plan. That worked out for us. Maybe we bring in the Unyielding Spirit just to have more protection. Maybe we look to take out those White Flame Protectors because we're never getting up to there. We just have to play this really aggressive strategy. But let's look at Kaisa. What is Kaisa going to do here? Kaisa did just get blown out by double Rune Prison, funny enough. What do you do as Kaisa here, SK?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing too, and the thing that you need to keep in mind as well with this is it's like, well, what are the odds that they're going to have double Room Prison again? They're only running 2, and so it's like, well, that was just kind of not, I don't want to say a fluke at all. That was great turn in that case, but it's like, what are the odds that they're going to have that kind of answer for my kind of board state again? And so it's like, just keep playing your game. They did it right. They had the answers. And in this case, it just got countered. So it's like, let's go ahead, take that step back. Let's reset, play our game, and see if we can get that game 3 win to remain undefeated in this great tournament.
Yeah, for sure. And man, what a play that was. And Kaisa will have access to that Targon's Peak this time around. So probably want to bring in a little bit more bodies to get onto the board, maybe even bringing in one more Caffeine Rain here, and like maybe just holding it out, honestly. Like you had the game there, you just fell short a little bit to Rune Prison, and man, sometimes it just happens. But let's see here. Game number 3, I'm ready for it. I hope you guys at home are ready for it as well. Let's get locked in.
Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest thing here too as well. The thing to keep in mind is that these players have been sitting in front of their computers playing this game for going on near 5 hours now. And I mean, just the mental toll that can also take on you as a player. It can possibly, especially as you go into maybe top cut and things like that in a long day, that can maybe cause some misplays or things like that. And so it's going to be interesting to see how everything ends up going for the rest of these rounds that we have today.
And let's talk about battlefields here, SK. And these battlefields here are good for both players. It's not like where you try to cap one battlefield early in game 1 and then try to play your mid battlefield in game 2. These are 2 great battlefields here for both players. And let's take a look at these starting hands, if you don't mind, seeing what we're working with in the early game here. So we have double Darius on the side of Kaisa with the Hextech Ray, Void Seeker, and our boy Riptide Rex. And then we have Pookie, the legendary, with the Primal Strength, with the On Guard, and the Snapvine as well. For Yi here, this is a beautiful start here. And here we're going to see the Pookie come down, buffing this Poro, and just deciding which battlefield they want to go to here. And honestly, if I'm the Yi player here, I want to go to the Dreaming Tree just because I know I have the backup here. So definitely going to decide to do that and just pass it back over to Kaisa.
Well, and you're exactly right about that. The biggest thing, too, is with the Dreaming Tree, the first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell here each turn, draw 1. And that can just be very, very beneficial to you because you can even draw additional answers with that as well. Whereas on Targon's Peak, when you conquer here, you ready 2 runes at the end of this turn, which means you can still also, if you have responses in your hands, the On Guards, the the disciplines and things of that nature, you can then utilize that as well. And so, like we said, it very, very well benefits both competitors here on these battlefields. But it's like, what are we going to do now? And we see the Kaisa moving in, taking the battlefield, being able to draw 1 once conquering, and seeing what might be coming next.
Yep. So Kaisa is kind of chilling here. Having this access to Targon's Peak is huge because now, if you have enough, you can just play a unit straight out and then look to get those 2 runes back as well. So you have responses. So we do know that the Kaisa has that Hextech Ray in hand. So just in case of any shenanigans, here we see Darius coming down here. So maybe this is looking to be a Darius play here. And here we're going to see the assault targeting Darius. So this is going to come in. Darius is going to restand. So if you guys don't know what Darius does, when you play your second spell in a turn, you ready him and you give him +2. So he becomes a 7. But because of the cleave here, he's going to get that assault 3. So this is going to be a 10 might going into the 6 might of this Poro here. Just to start off, but we do know the Master Yi, what he has in hand, and this is going to be a lot.
Ooh, and there we go. We see, just like that, the Discipline coming in, adding +2 and drawing 1. But then not only that, the Unguard as well, to where if it's a single unit there, you are able to add 2 to the unit as well. So that is going to be a trade in that case. And just like that also, Master Yi was able to get some good hand refill as well, which can help the longevity of this deck. And not only that, I mean, we see right now just how many runes are available to Master Yi as well. There's a lot of scary things that they could potentially do.
Yep, and here we see the Pookie coming down once more, raise the Pookie counters up, and here we're going to see a Primal Might coming down onto the Pookie here. Pookie is going to be massive coming in here at this Kaisa, and it does not matter what Kaisa has in hand here. Pookie is going to be able to tap battlefield over easy peasy, no worries there. And man, going up to 2, and this early game here from Yi is looking really, really nice. Just being able to trade into that Darius that was problematic for sure, and now Pookie's just being able to cap easily.
Mm-hmm. No, and you're exactly right about that. And the scary part is, it's like now as Moyen, it's like, do I want to use potentially the removal that I have in hand to take out, that unit at a battlefield so that Master Yi doesn't get another point towards victory? That's the scary part, because it's like, if I do have something like a Hextech Ray, or even worse, like a Falling Star in hand, I don't want to necessarily have to use that on something that is, a little bit smaller in this case. I want to use that for something a little bit more dangerous, like a Master Yi and things like that. And so it's trying to find that balance. And it looks like, yeah, a Falling Star is going to be coming out in this case, being able to deal 3 to a unit, and you get to pick 2 different units to be able to do so if you so choose, for a total of 6 in that case. Now, of course, if buffs end up coming out with Master Yi with the answers he could potentially have in hand, that could be pretty solid. And there we go, the side decked card coming in, Unyielding Spirit, preventing all spell and ability damage this turn.
Yep, and we did talk about this Unyielding Spirit here. This Unyielding Spirit is actually insane to come out here, forcing the hand on the east side here, and just saying, hey man, all those spells that you're doing, the Falling Stars, all of that, no, we don't do that over here. And we do know that Moyen has the Darius, so this Darius, if you guys don't know as well, we talked about it, we're saying when you play the second, but if you play Darius as the second one, he does come in active and he gets his +2. So this Darius can actually go into the Pookie, onto the Forge, onto the Targon's Peak, and also get to cap as well. And Master Yi doesn't have any responses to that. So this Darius easily taking that battlefield and going up to 2 to 2.
Yeah, and at the same time, too, the thing you got to be careful of as well is that you see that the Kaisa is tapped out of runes, no responses. And so in this case, the Snapvine is going to be coming in, dealing 6 damage right to that Darius, and then being able to move right back into that battlefield, readying up 2 runes on top of that after this turn, and then an Hourglass coming in to be able to add some more longevity to that as well. So as soon as a unit then dies, it will go back to base and be ready to fight another day.
And man, we're seeing these Pookie rotations coming out here. Snapvine still just being a menace today. Honestly, out of all these body decks that we've seen, Snapvine has put in so much work. Just coming down and saying, hey, I'm coming in for 6. I'm taking something with me. Any battlefield that you're holding here, nah, 6 off of that, right? And just because Darius doesn't have a way to buff himself like that, especially because Kaisa has been tapped out, and here we're going to see 1 tap, And another Defy coming out as well, just saying, telling Kaisa, hey man, that's nice spells you have over there, but we're not doing any of that here. So protecting the Pookie as well, and here we're just going to see a Watchful Sentry come down, and that looks like the Noxus Hopeful or the Legion Recruit. Correct me if I'm
Legion
wrong
recruit,
here.
Legion
Yes.
rear guard, Legion rear guard.
Rear
Yep.
guard, that's the one with accelerate. So we did this was a sideboard card if I recall correctly. So just coming in here with the accelerate, but choosing not to accelerate it here. Just having another body on board just to keep up with this Yee's board presence. And man, what a game so far. Just the back and forth, the rallying, the well-timed defies, and we're seeing a really strong game here and showing from Master E.
Yeah, exactly right. But at the same time here, with Moyen coming into the gameplay right now, only one card in hand for Master Yi, and it is a Carnivore Snapvine. But look at that hand with Moyen right now. That is a scary board, and especially with Master Yi only having one card left in hand, even though it is 5-2. That could be a very devastating move if he's not able to refill that. Now, it was really smart, however, to go ahead and pull back on the Pit Rookie back to base, because now if the Snapvine goes ahead and gets attacked, which it will in this case not necessarily attacked, but taken out by Riptide, it then gets spawned back into base and is able to fight another day. But still, that opens up both battlefields for the taking, and it looks like Moyen very well could be capitalizing on that and closing the gap on this current score right now.
And we did talk about this earlier when we saw Victor going into his Zonias as well. It's basically like you paid 6 for just a big body, and that never feels good, but that's what you kind of have to do. You cannot leave that Zonias on board for too long because you need to also accelerate your game plan as well. And going up to 4 here, we're seeing that Snapvine is actually just going to go straight into that Legion rear guard there, pushing that damage. So going to go up to 6 now, and this is where you kind of want to be chilling as Master Yi, because now you can know that you can double cap in a turn, right? So maybe looking to establish a body here, or saying, hey, do you have something to deal with this? And unfortunately on the side of Kaisa, they might not, but I spoke too soon. Hextech Ray coming out, going to deal 3 damage to the Pookie. So bye-bye Pookie, you have done your work. So now this is going to be a big tap here. And Yi is going to come down, and this will be an accelerated Yi, and Yi is going to be coming in straight into the Dreaming Tree, going up to 7, and looking at Moyen and saying, do you have it here? Do you have the double removal to deal with my board? If you don't have it, I just win next turn, and is going to hide a card on top of it. We do know a couple of the hidden cards that are in this Master Yi list, being one, that Cub that we saw last time, that surprised us all, or he could have the Zonias as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest thing. But still, we already saw a Thousand-Tailed Watcher that is in hand as well. So to be able to have that in, there could be some great responses there with that, to be able to -3 to the battlefield in that case. That is going to be scary. And so, but still, you're in kind of a difficult situation. The Master Yi coming onto board at that point, especially after already clearing out a response from Moyen in that case, was a great play. And I mean, that's going to be so difficult, because now you're going against an 8 if you choose to attack it on into Master Yi, and an 8 if you choose to attack into Carnivore Snapvine because of Master Yi's legend ability. And so the calculations here are going to be a little bit difficult, but it looks like they are going to commit to the Thousand Eye Watcher to -3 to all the attackers in the battlefield. And then we'll go ahead and move in and see, Master Yi, do you have the answers? 3 untapped runes, though, on Master Yi's side.
And don't forget, last game we did see a similar scenario here, and there are 2 runes up currently right now. So I would assume Moyen is very much respecting the fact that Rune Prison could be a thing here, but no Rune Prison on the first swing here, and then on the second swing, nothing there as well, but we'll flip the Cub, and then just going to get the double cap here. And unfortunate on the side of KnightinGale, not actually having the Rune Prison there. And now we're in a flip scenario here, just saying, hey man, out my board, or I just win the game here. And here we see coming down, going to recycle to another Snapvine, going to come down. That's the third Snapvine. Just going to end up trading there, and that more than likely will be game on the side of Moyen. And man, what a game, honestly. What a game. Just very, very unfortunate there.
Well, fortunate, unfortunate, because if you're Moyen, that's very fortunate.
Yeah, for you. It's very fortunate for you if you're Moyen, but very unfortunate for you if you're on the side of Yi. But we did know that Moyen had the advantage going into this game just because Kaisa just has all that removal. And you would think with Yi ability that Yi ability would be able to just starve off that damage that Kaisa can do. But like we mentioned in the early game, is that Kaisa just puts on raw damage. You never have to attack with Kaisa unless it's in the end game when you're looking to finish out the game and just saying hold. So that was really, really good gameplay by both players. That game 2 ending was insane to me. Just that double rune prison enjoyers rise up. We finally got our victory. But SK, talk to me, man. How do you feel about that game afterwards?
Well, I mean, you know, Moyen, both competitors are definitely skilled with the decks that they chose to use. And Moyen, I mean, he had to earn that win here. And now he is moving up 5-0 at that point. And so that's in a great space for him. Master Yi, though, cannot count him out. Yes, maybe there is a little bit of an advantage with going against a Kaisa going against a Master Yi. But even still, Master Yi said, hey, look, I'm not just going to hand it to you. You need to earn this. And Moyen definitely did.
Yep, for sure. So we're going into round number 6 now, and this is the important round. If you guys are ever in a tourney, round number 6 of 7 is very important because this is where it's the make or break. If you lose one here, you could potentially be out of top 8. You gotta lock in here. You gotta keep it firm. And if you're just a little bit below top 8 right now, you just also have to lock in and try to win out and get to that top 8 bracket. But anyways, we're going to take a short break here. We'll be right back for round number 6. And hopefully we can have some more great Riftbound gameplay.